Hello and welcome to the Wendell Foster August In-Service. My name is Wesley Gaynor and today we'll be learning about Wendell Foster's mission, vision, and values. Now to start our training, let's review Wendell Foster's mission and vision. Our mission is to empower people with disabilities to realize their dreams and potential. Our vision is to be the premier provider of rehabilitative, community-based, and residential services. Today, as we go through the training, we're going to learn about the connection between Wendell Foster's mission, vision, and values. As many of you know, Wendell Foster has 10 core values that can also be found on the back of your name badge. Now let's review what a few of these mean. For example, to be innovative means to be creative, to think outside of the box. Wendell Foster prides itself on its ability to be creative in its problem solving and operations. That is only possible through the creativity and innovative thinking of our staff. Empathy is another value that Wendell Foster holds as sacred. Empathy is a lot different than sympathy. Empathy is where we try and relate to other people through our own personal experiences. It leads to the understanding and shared feelings of others. This allows us to be compassionate in the care and services that we provide those we serve, both on-site and in the community. Respect is essential to what we do at Wendell Foster. We believe everyone from all walks of life are to be respected at all times. This means that we automatically respect other people and not wait for them to respect us first. To state that I will give respect when I get respect is a dangerous statement. If everyone had that position, nobody on this planet would ever be respected. So in that regards, respect should be given automatically and freely to everyone, even in the worst of times. Finally, let's look at professionalism. What does it mean to be professional? Professionalism involves being reliable, setting your own high standards, and showing that you care about every aspect of your job. It's about being diligent, hardworking, and organized. A professional holds themselves accountable for their own thoughts, words, and action. Values are our fundamental beliefs that guide and motivate attitudes or actions. It's our values that define the sort of employee we want you to be, and it gives us a general guideline for conduct. So let's look at how these values affect everyday circumstances. What if one day you're walking down the sidewalk and you observe a person in front of you drop their wallet without noticing? What do? You could pick up the wallet and keep it. Finders keepers, right? Or you could also pick up the wallet and take it to the person that dropped it. Now, the action you take is going to depend on your values. Okay, so here's another scenario. Let's say you're out shopping and you notice somebody who's struggling to reach the item on the top shelf. What do? Do you keep on walking because, it's not your problem, you don't work there? Or do you stop and assist them in obtaining the item? This is just another example of how our values can affect what we do on a daily basis. Now, we all have values. Some of us have defined them through purposeful thought and reasoning. Others have adopted them from others. But regardless of how we obtain them, we all have values that guide us in our daily lives, and it affects our decision-making, relationships, and behavior. Just like the values that we hold ourselves, Wendell Foster has corporate values that, through careful consideration, has been defined to guide us on how people associated with us should interact and be treated. Essentially, our values represent the civilization that exists in a workplace. The values that Wendell Foster holds sacred are based within our mission of empowering people with disabilities to realize their dreams and potential. Our values help solidify our mission so that we don't deviate from it. Deviating from a mission is a common problem in many organizations, and when this occurs slowly over a period of time, it's called mission creep. Mission creep is a dangerous symptom of an organization that's lost sight of its purpose. When mission creep occurs, there are usually changes that take place without clear reasoning and communication breaks down. Employees will constantly feel left out of the loop and will have very little idea of what's going on within the organization. During mission creep, the employees become distrustful of the organization and lose track of their purpose. Obviously, mission creep is dangerous. It becomes a cancer within the organization that kills the culture that people used to thrive in. Corporate values protects against mission creep. It helps ensure that employees have job satisfaction and aligns with the personal values of the staff. One of the easiest ways to test our mission and the effectiveness of our values is to ask ourselves the big question. Would you come here to Wendell Foster for service? Or we can look at it differently. If you lived here or receive services here, is what we do good enough for you? Asking questions like this helps prevent against mission creep, and it keeps our values at the center of our decision-making process. Not only does a corporate value affect our mission, it also affects our vision. Our vision is where we see ourselves in the future. Without the corporate values, Wendell Foster will not have a moral compass to navigate the complexities and difficult decisions that it will face in the future. It's our corporate values that creates a common bond that connects all employees under one code of conduct. The result is every employee making decisions based on the defined moral compass, also known as our values, takes us into the future that we envision for Wendell Foster. Not all values that people and organizations have are positive. Here's a list of negative values. Now honestly, this list is pretty straightforward and requires very little in the terms of explanation. And in contrast, here are some examples of positive values that an organization or a person may hold as sacred. Again, these are pretty straightforward and doesn't require much in way of explanation. So where do personal values typically come from? Well, primarily, it comes from the culture in which we're raised. Secondly, it comes from life experiences. So let's take a minute and reflect on your values. What values did you adopt from your family growing up? Were there certain things that affect your work ethic? Were there values that are reflected in your relationships with others? Are there values that you adopted that affect how you raise your children? Or about how you treat your significant other? Our values are represented in our actions at all levels, whether it's big decisions or little everyday interactions with others. So let's review what the values of Wendell Foster represents. They represent principles that are deeply ingrained within our culture. They are seen as so special that they're regarded as being sacred, and they are considered so essential that they're reflected in everyday operations. They're never to be compromised, and they are unique to Wendell Foster. They represent our culture and are passed on to every employee. And those 10 values are teamwork, innovation, empathy, positive attitude, understanding, honesty, respect, professionalism, accountability, and trust. Our values are also aligned with person-centered practices. Person-centered practices is about helping people obtain and retain positive control in their lives. It's all about listening to what people are saying, and when their words conflict with what their actions are, is to listen to their actions. All of this occurs by being honest. And finally, this occurs by promising to act on what is heard. Person-centered practices is a direct representation of Wendell Foster's corporate values. Without values to guide us in our personal lives or at work, we live a life without purpose and work for an organization without direction. It makes us wishy-washy in our decision-making. A person and organization without values is one that has nothing. Nothing to stand for, nothing to fight for, and nothing to believe in. Not having defined values means that the person and organization will submit to what others stand for, which is not always a good thing. No, it reminds me of a song that was popular in the 90s, and the lyrics stated that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's true with an organization or a person without values. You see, when a person or organization don't have values, well, they have nothing important to them. So they'll be in a constant state of submitting to what others value and other people stand for. Identifying personal and corporate values moves the person and moves the organization from just talking the talk to actually walking the walk. So in conclusion, the values that Wendell Foster embodies is the vehicle that enables us to empower people to realize their dreams and potential. Alright, so now we're going to talk about updated evacuation procedures. Now, as a reminder, all employees must evacuate the building if the fire alarm is sounding in the building they are working in. For example, if the fire alarm is going off in the Green Therapy Pavilion, all departments that are connected under the roof of that building should evacuate. And for each building, there are predetermined meeting areas that everyone must go to when evacuating. This will help us to get an accurate head count to see if anybody's missing. So if you work in the Green Building or Elmer Building, you're going to evacuate to the Elmer lot right beside the entrance sign. If you work in the kitchen, in inventory, SCL management, or in the training room, you're going to evacuate to the Century Park. Now for the people that work in the Latham Building, Wiedemann Hall, Laundry, and Recreation, you're going to evacuate to the parking lot along 9th Street. For everybody that works in the cottages, nothing has changed for you. You will still evacuate like you have in the past. Now, as we shift gears, let's talk about behaviors and the supports we can provide to people. So while this segment does focus on the supports that frontline staff provide to those we serve, the information actually applies to everybody. So first, let's go ahead and define what we mean when we say behavior. A behavior is anything that a person does. So in order for us to determine if something is a behavior, you can simply use the dead man test. So if a dead man can perform the behavior, it's not a behavior. When it comes to behaviors, there are typically antecedents that will happen first. So an antecedent is an event that occurs before the behavior. Now keep in mind that there are times in which a delay occurs between the antecedent and the behavior itself. So if you observe the behavior and cannot identify the antecedent, you should look farther back before the behavior to identify it. So let's rehash this real quick. A behavior is anything a person says and does, and before that behavior, there is an antecedent. To determine if anybody is having a behavior, just ask yourself, could a dead man do it? If a dead man can do it, it's not a behavior. Can a dead man hit? Can a dead man yell? Can a dead man bite? Can a dead man refuse to eat? Can a dead man not pay attention? The answer to all those is no. A dead man cannot do it. Therefore, it must be a behavior. When it comes to behaviors, the ultimate goal is to modify the negative ones by decreasing them or making them go away. Now, these negative behaviors are called target behaviors. Along with these behaviors, there are also consequences. Anything that follows a behavior is a consequence, and they will either reinforce or weaken the behavior from happening again. The goal of safety care is for positive behaviors to have a positive consequence. This will aid in causing this behavior to happen again. The opposite is also true. The goal for negative behaviors is for the consequence to be one that causes the behavior to either not happen again or to at least decrease how frequently it happens. The consequence of behaviors that cause it to happen again is called a reinforcement. If you notice a behavior continues, it is likely that it's being reinforced. When it comes to positive behavior support goals, the main objective is to increase a person's quality of life. This occurs through reducing instances of challenging behaviors, increasing independence, and developing replacement skills. So in conclusion, everybody has behaviors, both positive and negative. It's by understanding people's behaviors that we can build on the positive and work to decrease or eliminate the negative. And now we're going to talk about COVID-19 vaccinations and policies. Due to the resurgence of COVID-19, I want to take a moment and reiterate to all staff that it's important to submit to the signs and symptoms temperature checks upon entering the facility. Along with this check, it's also necessary for staff to self-evaluate and self-report any symptoms they may feel. As we see here, the new COVID signs and symptoms screening form has 4 sections. The first section is asking a question whether or not you've been diagnosed with COVID-19 within the past 10 days, or has somebody contacted you and advised you to isolate or quarantine. Now the second section is asking if you've had close contact within 6 feet for a cumulative total of 15 minutes or more over a 24-hour period in the last 14 days with somebody diagnosed with COVID-19. And this third section is asking for you to self-report the symptoms listed regardless of your vaccination status. Now this fourth section is the last one, and it's asking you, without disclosing any medical conditions or diagnosis, if you have any pre-existing illnesses that could contribute or cause any of the symptoms listed in Section 3. Another update is that for all staff that are unvaccinated, there will be bi-weekly surveillance testings for COVID-19. And as you can see here, all staff will need to continue submitting to signs and symptoms daily at the beginning of their workday, even if they've previously had COVID or have been vaccinated. So here's some good news. If you're considered to be fully vaccinated, what that means is it's been 2 weeks after your final dose, you do not have to submit to the ICF mandatory surveillance testing program unless you're displaying symptoms of COVID-19. If you're wanting the COVID-19 vaccine, all you need to do is go to www.vaccines.gov and search by zip code. As of August 11, 2021, the following providers had the vaccination in stock: Owensboro Health Regional Hospital, Davis County Health Department, Walmart, Walgreens, Sam's Club, CVS Pharmacy, and Kroger's. Now, as to who's approved to get the vaccine, per the CDC, everybody 12 years of age and older are now eligible to get a COVID-19 vaccine. For more information on the COVID-19 vaccine, you can visit vaccine.ky.gov.
I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and here's why. This isn't about gimmicks or sentiment or what commercial I like. This is about facts. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Millions of doses have already been given in the United States, and these vaccines have the most intensive safety monitoring in U.S. history. When you need more information, use a reliable source like the CDC website and get the facts.
And now let's talk about Wendell Foster upcoming events. On Friday, August 20th, 2021, at Ben Haas Municipal Golf Course, Wendell Foster is having its golf scramble as presented by Old National Bank. On August 27th, 28th, and 29th, we would like your help at Frog Follies, the annual street rod event. This event is located at the Vanderburg 4-H Center in Evansville, Indiana, and will have over 3,000 street rods, and it'll also have food and drinks. Proceeds from this event will go to charitable organizations, including Wendell Foster. If you're free to help out, please contact Aaron Lee at elee@wendellfoster.org. On August 28th at 4:00 p.m., Wendell Foster is hosting Family Bowling at Diamond Lane South. In order to participate, please RSVP Cindy Houston at chouston@wendellfoster.org by August 27th. This event is open to people with disabilities and their family members. Plans are subject to change depending on what COVID-19 protocols are in place at the time of the event. On Saturday, September 25th at 6:00 p.m., you're invited to the Wendell Foster Forever a Difference Maker dinner, auction, and dance. This event raises money that's used to empower people with disabilities to realize their dreams and potential. This benefit auction will be held at the Owensboro Convention Center, where there will be an evening full of fine food, fun, and generosity. While there, you can enjoy complimentary wine, a plated dinner, live music by the Emerald Empire Band, live and silent auctions, and dancing. The doors open at 5:30 p.m. If you're interested in attending, you can buy your tickets today at tinyurl.com/WF Benefit Auction. If you would like to volunteer for this event, please contact Sarah Poole at spoole@wendellfoster.org. On November 12th from 11 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m., Wendell Foster will be having the Half Marathon Expo at the Convention Center. Volunteers are needed for this event. Please sign up at tinyurl.com/WF Marathon. On November 13th, Wendell Foster is hosting its annual half marathon. To register for this event, simply go to wendellfoster.org/half-marathon and left-click on the Register Now button. If you are planning on running, we have a special promo code to use between now and August 20th. Use the code #ShowMeTheMoney! Make sure you include the hashtag and the exclamation mark. This will give you $10 off your race registration before prices increase. Remember to use this code by August 20th. If you would like to volunteer for this event, please contact Sarah Poole. And that concludes the August 2021 in-service. Please take the time to complete your test and turn it in to me, Wesley Gaynor. Thank you and have a great day.